Okay, team. So today we're going to do percent of a number, and we're going to be using some mathematical machinery that might be a little scary and um, for now is just going to work. When you take algebra, you're going to understand why it works, but now you just have to put faith in us that we're telling you stuff that's true, and then you're just going to have to use it and remember it. So that sounds scary, but it's really not that bad. But here's the stuff I'm talking about. So percent of a number, here are the steps. First, we set up a proportion, and we can remember this quick little fun thing to say, is over of equals percent over 100, right? And this notation isn't fully correct, right? Because a percent is already just some number over 100, right? And so when I use that percent sign over 100, that's not like fully correct, but we kind of just do it that way because it's easy to remember. But you'll see what I'm talking about in the examples. So after that first step, we use cross products, and I'm going to show you what that means. It's still really easy to remember. And the third step is divide by the number attached to x. So like these steps sound kind of not friendly, but really they're not that bad. So let's tackle some examples. So we have 3 right here, if I can scroll. Okay, and I'm gonna have the steps in the corner. So example 1 is blank is 24% of 75, right? So remember, first step, set up a proportion. So that's is over of equals that percent over 100, right? So for us, that looks like blank is, so we don't know what is, right? So if we don't know what it is, we express that with a variable. X can be anything, right? But it's a fancy way of saying we don't know what that is yet. So is over of 75, right? So we know what the of is. X over 75 equals percent over 100, right? And we have 24% right there. Um, And so we just do 24 over 100, right? Not 24% over 100. That's not the same thing. We just take like the number part of the percent and put it over 100. Okay. And then we do this thing called taking the cross product, where we multiply the numbers across from each other, like they kind of make an X, right? So like we're going to multiply 75 and 24 and 100 times X and then write them out. So 75 times 24, I'm not going to do the long multiplication just to save time. 75 times 24 is 1800, okay? So 1800, and then we have 100 times x. And since we don't know what x is, 100 times x is just 100x, right? This means 100 times x, okay? And then the third step was divide both sides by the number that's attached to x. So we divide this side by 100, remember, right? That's like a fraction. Fractions are division. And then we divide this side by 100. And so on you see on the right side that these 100s are going to cancel out, right? Because 100 divided by 100 is 1, so it just goes away. And then on the left side we have 1800 divided by 100, and that's just 18, right? So on the right side, we're left with x, and on the left side, we're left with 18. So that's like saying 18 equals x, or we can do x equals 18, right? And that's it. So when we put it back in the problem, it's 18 is 24% of 75. Okay, so example 2, 31 is 62% of blank, right? So it's a different number we don't know now, but same steps. So remember, is over of equals percent over 100. So is 31 is, right? So we know what the is over of is blank this time. So we don't actually know what it is. So that's where the x goes this time. Equals 62%, or and then equals percent over 100, right? And then we see right there 62%. So it's just 62 over 100. Same deal. We take the cross products. And these, so whenever we do these cross products, they're equal, right? Because these proportions are equal. So we multiply 62 times x, which is 62x, right? Just like 100x from the last problem, equals 100 times 31, which is just 3100. And then we divide both sides by the number attached to x, right? And then they cancel out. This is always going to happen. We're always going to have x by itself at the end, right? And then we have 3100 divided by 62. And so we get x equals 50. So back in the problem, 31 is 62% of 50, right? So now we're probably getting a little more comfortable. Here we're missing the percent, right? So remember, is over of equals percent over 100. So in a percent, we already know, since a percent is a ratio comparing a number to 100, the bottom is always going to be 100. So in every one of these, we're always going to have 100 somewhere in the denominator. But here, the blank is for the percent, right? So we don't know the top. So we have, when we set it up, we have is over of, right? We see right here is 18, and then the of is right next to 40, right? Equals percent over 100, right? So we don't know the percent this time, so we can do x and then over 100. And then same deal again with the cross products. 40 times x, 18 times 100. Oops. 40 times x is 40x. And then 18 times 100 is 1800. Divide by the number attached to the x on both sides, right? So 40 over 40 cancels out, and then we're left with whatever 1800 divided by 40 was. So we get x equals 45. So back in the problem, it's 45% of 40 is 18. Okay, now you're going to try 3 quick problems like this.